Hey, welcome back, guys. It's Dave. I wanted to put together a quick video going back on a rundown of the grid downloads in Thorough Capping Deluxe. I did add the most recent grid in, and that's the grid that I use for tomorrow. It's Breeder Cup races. And I titled it, in your grid download, you'll see TC, FTF, Velo. So we have the combination of the Thorough Capping grid, Follow the Figures, and the Velocity grid, all combined in one. All right, and then I also have it formulated to come up with a TC/FTF average as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to throw in some numbers here so you'll see how that works. I'm only going to do it for one horse, but we'll go like an 87. There he goes. Let's go 87 for a target. There we go. Give me a second here. 87, there we go. Let's go 89 on the ability. Final fraction, let's go 97. Target buyer, let's say it was a 87. Let's go 177. Speed cum, let's say the speed cum was a 154. Again, just making up numbers here. We'll throw in a couple qualitative marks. We'll go one on the move, one on the next out. So as before, we have our TC rating with qualitative notations considered, and we have TC rating over here with using just the matrix factors. Now, if we go down and follow the figures, and let's just go with some numbers here. Best on the surface, let's go 87. Say the best at the distance was an 87. Say his last out was an 83. His last out adjusted. Let's keep it at an 83. Move 83, 85, 88. And if you want to use the early speed columns and tie the early speed and late speed in with the FTF total, that's fine. If not, I would just recommend when you're using a chart to just black these sections out, because you do have the late speed up here anyway in the final fraction. Okay, but this was really set up for when you're using Follow the Figures as a standalone. You're able to tie in early speed. There's two extra factors you can tie in, but since we're already tying in the final fraction up there, if you don't want to, you could just go and copy this back over here again. I haven't been doing that because I simply want the Briz ratings to speak for themselves and not my own formulated factor, but I didn't take that out of there, these columns out of here, so I just left them in there, but you could just leave them blank. Now, as you can see here, we have an 85.33. We had the 89.7, and this automatically figured out the average of Thorough Capping and FTF, and it came out with an 87.5. All right, and that'll do that for all your horses. And then over here we have our consensus grid. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 areas of consensus. And we have our pace grids on the bottom as well. So if you're running the pace on certain horses or all the horses, depending on what your style is, what I've been doing is horses that have been showing up in the two grids, I've been making them worthy of running the pace numbers on them. Anybody did not show up in either grid, over here in color or over here once I color it, I've been leaving them out just to save time, to save work and save time. But you're going to have to do these manually, all right, because I don't know how to set them up to where it just goes and throws in the top horse here, and so on. But that's all right. That's where you can put, you can take your time, look who your top matrix horses are. Say it was the 1, 6, 4, 7. Throw them in there. If it's more pleasing to the eye, you can just go and center these. I didn't do that, but I put a lot of grids on here, so I'm not going to go down and center them all for you right now. And then you have your final consensus over here on the bottom. Okay? So after you've identified your top 4 plays or 3 plays, however you want to do it, in each of these columns, you can put your top 4 selections in here. And I think I have these set up to be centered already. Nope, I don't. But you did center them on your own. It doesn't take that much time. So if you want to do a quick look over now, what we have in our grid package, we have this most recent grid added, and I put the tab all the way to the left, so you'll know which one it is. We added a recency model, and I have one sample that I used, but we have a recency model that you're just covering certain factors: target Briz, excuse me, early speed, late speed, and Briz off that race, Briz speed number. And then the formulas do the math for you. And you come out with a TC rating here based on this information. We also have the tri-race model. Tri-race model was, we got the target ratings off of the last out. The best target rating out of its last 3 races. Or even if you want to go as far as 4, as long as there was no layoff there. And then we went all the way down in all the possible running lines and found a true ability rating. Now, your true ability rating may very well be this race right here. But we still found 3 because we wanted to average everything based on 3 and not 2. And that's your tri-race model. Okay? We have straight up TC rating grids that just use the matrix factors and the qualitative factors, and it comes up with the 2 ratings, one without qualitative, one with qualitatives considered. We have our full charts that are somewhat similar to the ones I just added, except for the fact that they're set up a little differently. And these are the I think these grids have a slide in the deluxe presentation to show you how to do these. These are qualitative notes that you would just put down about a horse. So the one horse, let's say, was a class drop. And then turn move. They didn't add any points in. We didn't add any points here for these. You had to kind of look at these on your own. Then we had a target and ability. And then the formula averaged the target and ability out. And then we ran the pace lines on it. And we came up with our final eval based on top ranking here, our top ranking over here, and so on. And I left these headings blank for you because you guys can rank them the way you want to rank them. Maybe you want to do a V1, velocity 1, or velocity 1 segment, velocity 2 segment, velocity 3, or maybe you want to ignore the velocities. Maybe you want to ignore the segments and just do an EP, SP, AP, and then a TA. Having trouble typing tonight. And then you can evaluate from there. And then we also have, I have 2 pages of the full charts. One was done for you already as an example. There might be a few done as an example. But you have plenty on there. You have straight up follow the figures charts, if you wanted to use that as a standalone. You have summary grids. Summary grids where after you do your handicapping on your past performances, you put the number of the horse. So let's say the 6 was the target, the 8 was the ability, top target buyer was the 6, top final fraction was the 5. Say the 8 was here, 6, 6. 1, 5. Turn moves, stretch move, key race, next out 1. And then you look at how often your contenders show up, and you base your contenders and selections off of that model here. This is more of a summary, and that's what it's called. We have summary grids number 2. Summary grids number 2 is we do the target. We do 2 races. Target, 1 race. Target, another race. Ability, ability. Final fraction, final fraction. and so on all the way through. And again, you should know what the headings are now because they're repetitive. And then I have a page with just the pace grids only. If you wanted to run the velocity only on your contenders after you eliminate it, and all you were concerned about was the velocity numbers, you could skip all the other stuff. And then we have two informative sheets in here. One is when you have to adjust the segment 3 in the pace grids for the different distances. The final segment, it might only be a furlong. So if you look on here, let's say it was 4.5 furlong race. For a 4.5 furlong race, this final segment, instead of a 13:20, up here becomes a 3:30 because you're only measuring a 16th of a mile, and so on. And then finally, we have the turf fractional equivalence for a final fraction. So if you're looking at a mile 16th race, and the final fraction from the half to the finish was a 29, that would equate to a 23:1 for your final fraction. Okay, so that's just a quick look through. But to go back to our original grids, which was the ones I added, there's approximately, I'd say, maybe 70 grids on this page. So what you could do right away is go and download, or not download, after you download, copy them all, and just hit the plus sign here and create 3 or 4 more pages of them, copy and paste. That way when you get to the bottom and you run out, you'll have another page to be able to work on. All right, so there's another set of grids for you. Looking forward to tomorrow to see how the picks do using these grids here. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in.